Oh, hello there. You might be wondering, what is it that we do here? And, I would like to just say that I suppose it is that what we do here is we go back. Now, actually, this is not really a content cop kind of thing at all. I actually initially bought this hat because I was gonna make a content cop on Lucas, and I figured, hey, he's finally posted something relevant to the project I looked at, so I might as well use the dumb $3 prop I bought. I was going to initially do a content comp, but then I realized that, he's kind of irrelevant despite his subscriber count. He's not really that big of a deal. The video Shteve did, tackling his rant, did more damage, I think, than I could at this point. The people that still, follow him and listen to what he has to say, they're kind of, they can't be saved anymore, so let's just let them exist where they exist. And you can see that I'm part of the special police, so you know that I mean business. Now, if you don't remember, the amazing Lucas is the man behind, this is going to be the first problem with this video and this update that we're looking at. Well, he was originally the man behind the Spider Combat Arena, a video I looked at early in the year, and since then we've only had very sparing, very sparse and simple updates as opposed to anything somewhat like significant progress with the actual game itself, which is obviously the big problem. And now I say initially behind the Spider Combat Arena because the title of the video says update on Spider Combat game, so now it's called the Spider Combat game, and in the video he just repeatedly refers to it as Spider Combat, like that's the entire title, despite the fact that in the corner it still has the original title, which is confusing. But let's not count our chickens before they lay their eggs. Let's start the entire video from the beginning. Let's get through the entire thing. It's 8 minutes and 30 seconds long. We got the time.
To be honest, when it comes to Spider Combat, the Kickstarter and everything, it was, for lack of better words, it was a scam. The whole purpose of Spider Combat was for me to raise enough money so I could fly to Turkey and get a forehead reduction surgery.
Essentially, he's starting off here by tackling anyone who criticized the project and his actions regarding the project by saying, by making this lampooning, little lampshading joke of, oh, it was a scam, but look, I'm just joking, I'm lying, it wasn't a scam, actually. Well, here's the thing. Neither me, nor Shteve, nor, and I'm not aware of any other, major YouTubers such as myself that took an interest in the project in the first place. I don't know if anyone was calling it explicitly a scam in the sense that you're gonna take people's money and fly off and do something somewhere else. I'm sure there were people that were saying that in your comment sections or on Twitter, but those were not the main complaints that people actually had. People were talking about how you weren't giving any updates. People were talking about how there were very suspicious pledges that got removed that you complained about afterwards, and then you had to beg your fan base for money in order to fund this project in the first place. People were talking about trademark issues, which you've silently addressed, and in fact you even mentioned in this video that you had to do that, but no, when other people brought that up, you had to go on racist tirades against them. All of that was going on. No, people were not saying you were going to take the money and do some nonsense with it, because that would be a crime. What you're describing would be illegal. It would be a fraudulent project, and that would be that. This is a very standard sort of practice for, someone who's kind of a grifter, someone who has gotten used to deflecting any kind of criticism, which is to take the most outlandish possible claim towards him and flip it around and make a joke out of it in order to ignore the actual valid criticisms.
The Kickstarter, for those of you guys don't know who are planning to do Kickstarter, is that Kickstarter does not take the money when someone donates. For those of you who don't, what's a big deal? So if someone donated on the 1st, and let's say in 2 months the Kickstarter ends, well, there's no guarantee that that person has the same money to give to Kickstarter when they try and deduct it out of their account. So you're having people who did not even have the funds or who changed their minds, and that left us with a significantly smaller portion than what I had anticipated.
So what he's saying here is that he gave as much research and thought into making a Kickstarter project as he initially had given thought to, the intricacies of making a game and the costs of making a video game. These are all afterthoughts to him. This is just something he threw together because he thought, I can make a game. I can make a game better than any of those woke libtards, and I can just throw together a Kickstarter project and get money out of my fan base and make this video game. That's gonna be so easy. But no, obviously there are issues with Kickstarter that if you did the minimum amount of research of how those funds come in, possible issues, then you might have figured this out. There's a risks and challenges section in Kickstarter for a reason, for you to actually consider the goddamn risks and challenges, which you did not do.
Now, luckily for me, I've secured a programmer, and we're working back and forth, and I get to, negotiate, here and there, because how it works is that instead of going a full project, what we've done as far as gone over this mechanic, that mechanic, this mechanic, and for, him to give me a price. How much is it going to cost to do a takedown? Takedown is $2K. Okay, takedowns are $2K, and it depends on the environmental takedown, which could raise it to $3K. How much is this, right? So we're trying to piecemeal, I guess, the game together.
I've never worked on a video game, and obviously, if this does not seem, this seems completely valid to you, you can criticize me in the comments and say that. This seems like a terrible, terrible system that is probably going to end up costing a lot more and delivering a more subpar project than just having a programmer that, you're paying to work on a game. Or maybe, that would have been more expensive, but again, that's something you should have looked into beforehand. You should have raised that, funding goal higher, even though, there was a chance you weren't going to reach that goal anymore. That's better than reaching the funding goal and just not having enough money. Obviously, that, again, I accept that some of that money just didn't come to you. Like, that's been an issue with Kickstarter for the entire time Kickstarter has existed. I mean, Pisces was complaining about it during Cybermatrix projects that he didn't get, receive all the money that he had been, pledged. This has been a problem for a very long time. Yes, it's entirely your fault that you didn't take it into consideration. Not only that, but, I mean, at the very least, I can say this. Surely then, because this is clearly an issue that you now recognize is a problem, surely then you must have been extremely appreciative back when Kickstarter deleted some fraudulent pledges from your project. Surely you didn't go off to complain about it and Kickstarter basically taking away your money that real people were pledging you and that you were really going to get. And maybe if you did complain about that, I'm sure you walked that back as soon as you, saw that you were getting less money than you were pledged in the first place and realized, oh, actually, if those pledges had come in and they were fraudulent, I would be thousands of dollars in the fucking hole right now. Oh, surely you must have considered that now. Oh, wait, no, he's a narcissistic asshat. Of course, he never did.
In order to give something, because you can only have three, the triangle, right? You can have time, you can have money, or you can have quality. So,
well, he's about to kind of misinterpret or misrepresent what the triangle really means. I mean, there are variations to this project management triangle. There's variations of it on, when you're, making the project or when you are delivering the project to the person. But the general gist of it is, you can have it, you can make a project cheap, you can make a project fast, and you can make it high quality, right? And you can make a project that is cheap and quick, but it's going to be low quality. You can make a project that is high quality and cheap, but it's going to take a long time. What he says here is, oh, we don't have money, but we got time and we got quality. Sure, you don't actually have any kind of time constraint, you're right. You didn't, explicitly state any delivery time that I'm aware of. Maybe there was something on the project, but if there was, then I just didn't see it or care that much. So your focus should be on the quality, which I think, most of your backers, most of the people supporting you would be completely fine with. You just need to give more updates. This is a good start. Keep doing videos and updates like this. I see that you're doing the rest of them on your animation channel. Fine, just actually do them.
Given that we don't have, the monies that I'd like to be working with, then we have time and then we have quality, okay? That's how that works. So moving forward, many people want to know, what do you do with the money, Lucas? What do you do with the money? The money, okay, has gone to the LGF, okay? And that is the Lucas Grocery Fund. No.
You know, it's a really good strategy when people are asking you, "Hey, where did you put the money that I gave you? You know, I, as your fan, gave you my money to make this project that you want to make. Where did that money go?" It's great to go, not just one joke about wasting their money. Go ahead and make 2 of them. That'll really make them so happy with you, man.
But what it's been going to is going to 3 things. It's been going to consultations, it's going to go to as far as assets, and then it's obviously going to go to the programmer.
So those are the 3 building blocks of making a video game. Consultations, assets, and programmer. I wouldn't be pointing out the minor spelling error here, I wouldn't be saying, laugh at this user, he made a spelling error. If this wasn't a sign of what I think is to come, which is, it's not a good sign towards how much effort he might put towards making a fully fledged video game if he can't, put that effort into going, Premiere shows that there's a little red squiggly line under the word assets because that's not a word. Maybe I should, make it a word, right? But no, he wouldn't do that, so assets.
Okay, that's where most of this has gone from. When it comes to consultation, I don't know if you guys happen to know that, I haven't created a game. I've worked on projects, but as, working on those projects, I've always been the 3D animator.
You see, this is another goddamn issue that people like me, people like Shteve, people, all over the place that criticize projects like yours bring up is like, this is your first proper game. This is the first time you're making a video game. You're saying this right now. You worked on projects, but you've never done a video game. Not a single full, full scope thing, not even like the tiniest flash thing, nothing, right? And you are making your first project, making a full video game, on Kickstarter asking for other people's money. So this is your first experiment in this field and you're doing it with other people's money. That is a problem. That is not something that's, most people would do or most people would suggest doing. In fact, it's again kind of a dick move.
So consulting with, combat designers from pretty big studios. I'm not going to name drop.
Why? Why are you not going to name drop them? There are only like a couple of reasons I can think of why you wouldn't name drop what your studios or people you're working with. One would be that they don't want to associate with the project for some reason, which I don't think is the case. I genuinely don't think that's the case at all. I mean, why would they not? I mean, unless they're, telling you things that go against NDAs. But again, why would they be doing that for this project? And it's not like you have a personal connection with these people. You're paying them, obviously. So what the hell? The other reason I can think of is later on, he's going to go off on a very slight tangent about, the woke and the manly women and the beta males and all that. And and his audience is quite feral about these problems. That's the audience he has cultivated around himself. So I'm just wondering if he's maybe, consulting with some companies, with some developers that he and his fan base haven't been all too kind to before. And if he brought them up, they would be like, wait a minute, you're talking to the wokes, But something, that's the other option. And option 3 is, you're not actually talking to someone from a huge studio or, not a pretty big studio. Maybe you're talking to some kind of indie developer somewhere, maybe. And you just don't want to, lower yourself to that level, despite the fact that you've admitted that, you don't have the biggest possible budget, so why would that even be any kind of embarrassment, right? I mean, just say who you're working with. This is not like some huge company secret that you need to hold, alright? Right. I genuinely think that you are working with someone, just tell us who it is.
I know a lot of people were concerned with, well, you can't make a Spider-Man game, Lucas, you're gonna get sued. You're gonna get sued in oblivion, right? Obviously, we're not making a Spider-Man game. This isn't a Spider-Man game. We don't have the license for that. So obviously there comes legal counseling of, hey, are we cool with this design? Are we gonna be cool with this? We should be fine. Now,
so again, you went out of your way to go for legal consultations regarding how much you can put in here, how much is going to be fine, how much needs to be changed from it being Spider-Man. Never mind the fact that your original project used an image of what is obviously just Spider-Man in the goddamn thumbnail. You opened up talking about Spider-Man and then switched over to saying, oh, by the way, this character is just the spider, it's an OC, right? And whenever people pointed this out, instead of being like, oh no, we're going through legal consultations or anything, you called you know, insulted them, called them slurs, went on racist tirades against them, instead of just, you know, admitting that, yes, this is a potential trademark issue, and we've talked about this, and we're figuring that out, you know, we're figuring that out in order to not get sued. Again, you are taking people's criticism, you are, you know, considering it, but outwardly you're being the biggest possible asshole you can be.
At the end of the day, for me, the whole point of this project is to bring back the fun into gameplay. Without the politics, right? Without the manly looking women, without the beta looking dudes.
Put a ticket in and make a name gay!
And I genuinely do hate this rhetoric. I hate the woke video game industry is ruining everything, because it's always so vague. Without the politics. What do you mean about without the politics? So you're making a game essentially about Spider-Man. You're making a Spider-Man game, a game that's always been, you know, it's a superhero genre. It's always about, you know, superheroes fighting villains, fighting crime, you know, working with the police, working against the police, doing whatever the hell. What you're saying is that you're eliminating any kind of interest from, you know, a political, moral standpoint, you know, as a comic book fan, and you're all just throwing that all to the side and being like, no, it's just going to be a mindless, brainless video game. All right, that's fine. Those can exist. You know, you don't want your mannish women in it because I'm guessing like 2 video games or 3 video games in the past couple of years that you've seen, because you're guaranteed to only look at AAA video games when you're talking about these things. Oh, they had like women in them that you couldn't jerk off to. Wow. Oh my god, the industry has fallen. Oh, without beta-looking males. You're making a Spider-Man game. Are you going to tell me that every person who has, you know, every iteration, every depiction of Spider-Man and Peter Parker and all the actors who have played him and the way they were in those roles, they were always, what, freaking alpha males? Is that your vision of what Spider-Man is? Or what is Spider-Man, a goddamn Sigma male? What are you talking about? At a certain point, you're just rambling about nonsense. And what good old days are you talking about? What era of gameplay are you about to bring with what looks like, as far as your budget goes, as far as what you have shown goes, as far as what you were talking about in your goddamn pitch video, is just a very generic arena beat-em-up game? What era of amazing video games are we talking about here? And why are you discounting all indie games that have ever been goddamn made, or any game that's come out in recent years, when you yourself are, you know, a gaming channel, you've looked at video games, you go off about how great certain PlayStation games are. Oh, and most importantly, I want to point out, you're taking consultations from someone you said comes from a major studio. So either, like I said, either that person is from one of these wokey studios that are giving you all these games that aren't fun and, you know, games that focus on politics and not good gameplay, in which case, well, why are you consulting with this person? Or you're consulting with someone who works in a company that gives, you know, makes games that you like and appreciate, and you appreciate the consultations they're giving them, that they're giving you rather. And in that case, well, what are you complaining about? What are you talking about here? There are clearly companies that still do that, you goddamn dipshit.
And that is what I'm focused on. So moving forward, the vision that I have going forward is to put out a demo, a playable demo on Steam. And God be willing, fundraise off of that demo to build out a full game.
Once again, this is just an issue of you not, you know, planning ahead, not figuring out your Kickstarter project. This is again why Shteve and I were complaining about it. Among other things, there are plenty of things to be complaining about on that project and projects like it. The funding got too low. You didn't get enough money to make a video game. You're making a demo. Did the project at any point mention that you're making a demo? No. No, of course it didn't, because you had not done the research in what it's, you know, what goes into making a fully fledged video game. So you were promising a fully fledged video game without having any idea of how to goddamn do it. And I think that's kind of gonna have to do it for today. He ends the video, you know, advertising his Patreon, which is honestly such a terrible move. Not for him. For him, that's a great idea, a good way to make money. For people, considering funding the project in any meaningful way, don't do it. Don't do something that idiotic. Don't support this development through Patreon. Because, I mean, you just need to look at something like Yandere Dev to be like, oh, that can go on for years and years, because, well, a Patreon subscription doesn't actually, entail any promises of content, you're like, oh, I'm gonna post this stuff to this tier, but there's no obligation for you to post anything on Patreon. It's just a matter of, are people going to be, continue giving you money, which sometimes they do. That's gonna do it for today's video. I didn't look at a new project this week, but I felt like this was a very significant update to give you here, just as a reminder, and that, this project exists. All the projects we looked at, to some degree, still exist, unless they've been completely deleted off the internet. The people behind them still exist, and very rarely will you see something great come out of them, honestly. But, maybe something will come out of this. I mean, just a couple of weeks ago, I made the video about the Trademark stuff, and I mentioned how we hadn't seen anything new in this project, and then he comes out with this. I don't think I had any impact on that at all. I don't think he saw the video. I think it's just a coincidence, but it's still amusing that, he previously told people, oh, well, you don't know anything about making video games. You don't know what it's like out here. You don't know anything about anything. And you just need to shut the hell up and let me work. And in response to people saying, could we get an update on what the hell this video game is looking, how the project is progressing? And then he, releases an update, and you're like, this is exactly what people were asking for in the first place. You were just an asshole for no goddamn reason. But then again, that's your entire channel's and internet existence's MO. That's gonna do it for this video. Remember to leave a comment and subscribe. Leave your thoughts on good old Lucas here, and I'll be seeing you in prison. Just little sparks coming off, and the entire thing is clearly shaking and thus not getting a clean cut, which you can see on the final product. You can see the jagged edges on the tuning fork. It's uneven, it's clumsy, it is just terrible. And yet if you go down here, you will see